Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. Why does Hashem tell Moses, Bo el Paro, come to Pharaoh? That's what he says, no? He says, Bo el Paro, come to Pharaoh. I think to remember that last week's Parsha, in the Parsha before that, there was a line where Hashem told Moses, Lech el Paro, go to Pharaoh. Lech lecha, lech el Paro. Like he told Abraham, Lech lecha. And he told Moses, Lech el Paro. But here in the beginning of this week's Parsha, we're in the middle of the 10 plagues, and Hashem tells Moses, Bo el Paro. That's the first question. Why come to Pharaoh? Why is Hashem, so to speak, hanging out with the Pharaoh? He says, Bo el Paro, come to Pharaoh. For I have hichbadati, I have made his heart heavy, and the heart of his slaves. Well, we have a lot of plagues in this week's Parsha. That's the first question. The second question is the famous question of free will. If it's a fundamental principle of Judaism that people have, human beings have free will or ethical autonomy, the ability to choose between right and wrong, perhaps not every second of our lives we have free will, but we do have the ability, Hashem instilled with us the ability to choose ethical right or ethical wrong. So why or how is it possible that Hashem could stubborn, make heavy, harden the heart of Pharaoh? There are about 20 or so instances when in the past 3 parshas to now where Hashem hardens the heart of the Pharaoh, or the heart of the Pharaoh has become hardened. So how is that fair? So obviously, some Mefarshim say that the hardening of the heart was in order to give him free will. But how does that actually work? And I think that there are 4 stages. If you actually look at the Psukim, there are 4 stages. Stage number 1, in Parshat Shmot, in the 6th Aliyah, Hashem says, Ani achazek et leiv Paro, I will make strong the heart of Pharaoh. Then, in the beginning of Parshas Va'era, in the 3rd or 4th Aliyah, Hashem says, I will make hard, Ani akshe et leiv Paro. But finally, in the successive aliyahs of Parshat Va'era and last week's Parsha, when the heart of Pharaoh is actually becoming hardened, if you look at the language, it's like 6 or 7 examples of Pharaoh doing it to himself. Vayechezak leiv Paro. The heart of Pharaoh strengthened itself. Or hachbeid et libo. And Rashi explains that this is hif'il language from the subject, meaning Pharaoh caused his own heart to become heavy. And then finally, kaved leiv Paro, adjective form. The heart of the Pharaoh is heavy. And then finally, once the Pharaoh did all this heavying and hardening to himself, then Hashem steps in. Vayechazik Hashem et leiv Paro. And then Hashem made the heart of Pharaoh strong. And then finally, in the last stage, Hashem admits, it was always me. I was always there. So that's the first answer of the free will. Pharaoh did it to himself first. It's very clear in the Psukim. Of the 20 or so examples of this hardening, stubborning, heavy, Pharaoh did it to himself first, and then Hashem stepped in. That is the first answer. And then also answers our second question. Why Bo el Paro? Why come to Pharaoh? Because Hashem is trying to say the message, basically. I am with the Pharaoh now because he is in a big struggle of free will. And there are moments where the Pharaoh has a glimpse of trying to do the right thing. When he tells Moses and Aaron, Moshe Rabbeinu ve'Aharon HaKohen, to pray for him, and he tries to let them go at some points. In the end, he fails. We all know the story. He fails miserably. But he was trying, and it was a struggle. So clearly there is a Yetzer Hara, a Yetzer Tov, an evil inclination, good inclination, going on inside the Pharaoh in all of these psukim, in all of this episode. And that's why Boel Paro, come to Pharaoh. Because Davka, specifically when you are struggling to do the right thing, Hashem is with you implementing the Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Tov, so that you can actually have the free will itself. These are the mechanisms of free will, so to speak, that are found in this week's Parsha, last week's Parsha, the Parsha before that, also maybe a little bit in next week's Parsha. So those are the two questions. Remember, we have a Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov, and Hashem created us to have free will. We are human beings, the only creations with a free will, an ethical autonomy, a reshut l'chol adam netuna biyado, whatever you want to call it. But this is the message. May we all have a blessing to choose the right way and to recognize that when we are struggling, it is dafka then that Hashem is with us. And may we prevail and choose the right according to the Torah HaKadosha. Have a wonderful Shabbat, and I'll see you all next time.